Hey, hi, hello, how you doing? You're all da here. According to many respected music sources, Live Nation have just announced that they're announcing some artist cuts in regards to merchandise. They're also giving $1,500 in travel expenses for every venue that the bands play at. That $1,500 is for headline acts, and according to other sources, it's $600 for support acts that are playing on the same bill. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a wee read of the article that I found on Blabbermouth, and we'll just have a wee look at what more than the headlines are saying. Okay, so Live Nation has launched On the Road Again, a new programme created with the legendary Willie Nelson to support developing artists and the integral teams that support them. These hardworking artists are impacted the most as tour costs rise and fluctuate. Even as the music industry is experiencing unprecedented growth, Live Nation wants to do more to help the live music careers of these talented artists, as well as the hardworking crews that operate behind the curtain. Through the end of the year, the On the Road Again programme is expected to deliver tens of millions of dollars in extra earnings to club artists and crew by the following. All of Live Nation's clubs are investing in developing artists by providing $1,500 in gas and travel cash per show to all headliners and support acts, on top of nightly performance compensation. Additionally, these clubs will charge no merchandise selling fees, so artists keep 100% of their merch profits. Touring is a crucial part of an artist's livelihood, and Live Nation understands travel costs take one of the biggest bites out of artists' nightly profits. By helping with these core expenses, Live Nation aims to make it easier for artists on the road so they can keep performing to their fans in more cities across the country. So all of that sounds fantastic, and I don't want to take that away from Live Nation. It's a great initiative. But upon digging deeper, I've discovered that the initiative actually only lasts 90 days. I found another article through Loudwire that criticises the initiative. So, critics such as the National Independent Venue Association subsequently pointed out the details in the fine print, saying that this makes the programme a non starter at best, and a detriment at worst for most independent venues. In fact, Live Nation will only employ the On the Road Again initiative for a limited time at a small amount of club venues, and the NIVA has claimed that it will actually squeeze out other small independent venues. So, upon discovery, it's it's a very limited number of venues. I don't know the exact amount of numbers. There's no article that's told me the exact amount, but I have discovered that the initiative is only lasting for 90 days. So I really wanted to do this video in order to help explain touring and why the fees directly affect you. When there's things like merchandise cuts from Live Nation and venues, um, artists are forced to put the prices up, meaning that the merch cuts really come at the expense of fans in general. Also take into account of the fact that we're moving further into a cashless society where things like PayPal take additional cuts for every transaction. Simply things are costing more and more for the consumer, and less of the people you actually want to support are benefiting from it. Of course, none of this is really new information, but I wanted to put this into context for you. Let's use Metallica, who are one of Live Nation's biggest draws in the rock world. Let's use them as an example. So Metallica have played at around 40 North American shows this year. After some quick research, I found out that the average arena size in America is around 20,000 capacity. I'm only going to take into account merchandise sales here and assume that for ease that all shows are sold out. Let's say a quarter of all in attendance buy a t-shirt that's around $40. So straight off the bat, there's a gross profit of $200,000 for t-shirt sales alone. Live Nation take an average between 15% and 30% based on what's agreed with the artist going into the tour, what's in their contract. So before they even pay for the crew, before they even pay for any merch in general, you can see a band like Metallica own Live Nation between $30,000 and $60,000 a night. That's of course an oversimplification, and a band like Metallica, of course, are going to be able to afford $30,000 to $60,000 a night. Like, they made so much more money in ticket sales. They sell out arenas the world over. But when you consider Live Nation, a company that has made $4.3 billion in profit last year alone, they're taking so much off the top that you can only imagine how it's affecting smaller bands. On Twitter, or X, or whatever you want to call it, Ryan Kirby from Fit for a King has confirmed that they're benefiting from this system already. They're getting their $1,500, they're not getting their merch cuts. That's great. I love to see that this initiative is actually helping bands, whether or not it's short term. However, I do feel like for Live Nation, this is too little too late. So Laura Jane Grace of Against Me has also recently spoken up against this through Twitter or X or whatever we want to call it, echoing the sentiments here and has started a petition. I've put the petition in the link below. At the time of filming, the petition has reached 794 out of 800 signatures. I know that as a very, very small YouTuber who's new to the platform, I'm not going to have a reach the same way that Laura Jane Grace does. But I urge anyone that's watching this video, please click the link below and sign up to it. So where do we go from here as musicians? I can't speak much for American bands and artists and their system, but I do know that in the UK we have such a thing as a musicians union. Currently, we're reaching the end of the Writers Guild of America's strike, where they're showing their disdain and disagreement for the use of AI to be used as part of their writing process. Is there a feasible way for musicians to unite in a similar way? Can we fight back against Live Nation and their fees? Granted, it was an artist like Willie Nelson who spearheaded this campaign, but we do need more younger artists of a certain size and success to speak up against it all. We seem to be happy with settling for a glass ceiling more often than not nowadays, and conglomerates like Live Nation will just take chunks of money out of our deserving pockets and expect us to be okay with the breadcrumbs. It's great that we have people like Laura Jane Grace, who's a respected figure in the punk community, to speak up on things like this. But where are the arena level bands? Where's your Green Days? Where's your Foo Fighters? Where are all the top selling acts on these issues? It's great to see successful musicians held in high regard stand up for people and have changes made, but if it's not directly affecting them, we don't see them speaking up. I don't feel like anyone that's experiencing any success is ever going to be watching my daft wee YouTube videos, but as a very, very low level musician that's playing small venues, when these things start getting more and more normalized, more and more venues are going to start implementing the same things. So we'll start seeing small club events, we'll start seeing very small bars and venues realize that it's okay to take merch cuts from bands. That's when we start seeing it. Live Nation have set a precedent here, and everyone will follow suit. They have realized that what they're doing is not okay, and they're trying to now do better with that. It's too little too late, and now they're trying to go back on it and get rid of merch cuts. But that doesn't mean that everywhere else is about to follow suit. A lot of places will now be comfortable with the extra income. But do you think that there's a silver lining? Do you ever see things changing in this regard? If you're a musician, if you're part of the touring circuit, I'd love to know your opinions as well. I'm very, very new to this platform, so a like and a subscribe is greatly appreciated. If you've got any feedback, I would love to hear it, and I would also love to know your thoughts.